In 1932, the Australian government officially declared war. This wasn't a conflict against a foreign power or a domestic uprising, but a full-scale military offensive against a flightless bird. It remains one of the most bizarre and humiliating chapters in modern military history. A state-sanctioned campaign where the Royal Australian Artillery, armed with automatic weapons, was systematically outmaneuvered by 20,000 emus. This was the Great Emu War, a tactical disaster that proved that even machine guns are no match for the chaos of nature. The conflict began not in a war room, but in the dust-choked wheat fields of Western Australia during the height of the Great Depression. Following World War I, the Australian government had settled thousands of veterans on marginal lands to farm wheat. By 1932, these soldier-settlers were already at a breaking point due to collapsing grain prices. 10 come into Great Migration. 20,000 emus, following their natural breeding cycle toward the coast, discovered the newly irrigated farmlands. They didn't just eat the crops. They tore down expensive fences, allowing rabbits to follow in their wake and finish off what little was left. Desperate and trained for combat, the veteran farmers didn't ask for subsidies. They asked for the army. The Minister of Defense, Sir George Pearce, saw a golden opportunity for a public relations win. He agreed to deploy troops, provided the farmers paid for the food and ammunition. Command was handed to Major G.P.W. Meredith of the 7th Heavy Battery of the Royal Australian Artillery. His army consisted of 2 soldiers, 2 Lewis machine guns, and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. The military logic was simple. The emu is a large, easy target. A few bursts of machine gun fire would surely end the infestation within days. However, the soldiers were about to face an enemy that pioneered a form of guerrilla warfare they were entirely unprepared for. The war officially opened on November 2nd near Campion. The troops spotted a group of about 50 emus and attempted to herd them into range. The birds responded with a strategy that baffled Major Meredith. They split into tiny, disorganized clusters and sprinted in different directions. The Lewis guns, designed for the static trenches of Europe, were useless against targets moving at 30 miles per hour. A few days later, an ambush of over 1,000 birds failed when the gun jammed after only 12 hits. Major Meredith began to suspect the birds had a sophisticated command structure, noting in his logs that each flock seemed to be led by a giant black-plumed sentry who would stand guard and signal the others to retreat the moment a soldier adjusted his sights. Desperation led to even more absurd tactics. The military attempted to mount a machine gun on the back of a truck to chase the birds across the outback. This resulted in a total farce. The terrain was so rugged that the gunner couldn't aim, and the truck was unable to keep pace with the birds through the thick scrub. One emu even reportedly tangled itself in the steering gear, causing the vehicle to veer off course and crash into a fence. After nearly a month of combat, the military had expended thousands of rounds of ammunition with almost no impact on the emu population. Major Meredith famously remarked that if he had a division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, he could face any army in the world. He compared the emus to living tanks, noting they could sustain multiple hits from a machine gun and simply keep running. The end of the war was marked by mockery rather than a treaty. By mid-December, the Australian House of Representatives was in an uproar. The press was relentless, with headlines lampooning the emu commandos who had outwitted the artillery. Sir George Pearce was ruthlessly questioned in Parliament, with one member asking if the emus should be awarded medals for their victory. Humiliated, the government ordered a total withdrawal. The military eventually tried a second campaign, but the results were just as dismal. The emus didn't need to win a single battle. They simply refused to die. In the end, the government found that a simple bounty system for farmers was more effective than a military operation. The Great Emu War remains a humbling reminder that technology and rank mean nothing when the enemy doesn't know it is supposed to lose. Final score: Emus 1, Australia 0.